Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast, a production from Empowering Pumps and Equipment as the voice of the pump and related equipment industry. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. This is episode 126. I am your host, Charli Matthews, and I'm so thankful that you choose us every week. Go ahead and subscribe or give us a rating and review. Just do something empowering right here in this moment. Always stay connected with us at Empowering Pumps or using that hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. Yes, that's it. Empowering Industry Podcast. Well, a couple things. I wanted to give you a little update. I had such an amazing trip to Houston with our EPIC advisory board and just really felt like inspired and energized by being with them. Having people within the industry come together, we know creates that energy and excitement. And so that we're doing that for you, but I also got a little bit of that myself this week. And so there's still ways that you can get involved with the Empowering Pumps and Industry Conference. That is EPIC. So we're going to be in Pasadena, Texas, November the 14th and 15th. The main day of the conference is the 15th, where we'll have sessions all day and hands-on trainings. We'll have a tour of these different labs. So all the fun is not just for me. You can be involved too. And so check that out at empoweringindustry.com. We have a lot more opportunities for you to get involved. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this brings the industry and the workforce, both current and existing, workforce, and then our current and existing is the same thing. So basically the current workforce and the future workforce together with industry. And so we're really excited about that. And I've seen, so much positive feedback as far as who is showing up and who is supporting that. So don't miss out. Let us know. Of course, you can email me directly or send us a mention there on social. The other thing that I'm doing this week is I will be in Orlando for Reliable Plant. We're going to have the Empowering Industry Podcast there, interviewing a couple of awesome people. Nicola Labs is one of the presenters that I will have there. And also we'll be talking to Ludeca. So I'm really excited about that. I haven't seen them in a while. And I know they've been, partners of ours in the past. And so I'm looking forward to seeing them again at that conference and really just talking about culture and how do you build and sustain a strong reliability culture. And I think just talking about creating your culture within your company is important no matter, what industry you're in. So I'm excited about being a part of that panel discussion as well. And so just on the road a little bit this week, and then coming back into August, we are going to have our leadership summit. And that's really what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about before we jump into our interview. The Leadership Summit and really all of our summits are developed to share knowledge. And so we've brought together several people that we know are actively sending out their knowledge in the industry and really being thought leaders and sharing and developing talent in the leadership area. Starting with Susan Hobson and Rob Kavarosky. He was my leadership coach when I was in the Leadership Launchpad project, and as well as Susan was as well. And so if you haven't taken a listen to them in their podcast, I highly recommend it. It was one of the leading podcasts on leadership. And so just want to kick off the day with them. And so they're going to do the Leadership 2.0 or 4.0, as we've been talking. Which one is it? The next level of leadership, which is very human centric. And so we're going to talk with Rob and Susan, and then we're going to talk with Alex Kavarosky, who is going to talk to us about finding and retaining talent. And so that topic, I've done some work with him for our Knowledge Shared series, kind of leading up to this leadership summit too. And it's just giving a wealth of knowledge, showing, okay, what is the job market right now? And how are we going to find and retain this talent? What are some tools that we need? And he is really, from a recruiter's perspective, able to offer us the tools that we need to be successful. So I'm excited to share that with all of you. We will also have a session on leading in manufacturing during challenging times. It's going to be a panel, which I'm also very excited about. Paul and Paul Yapple, I'm not sure if that's how you say your name, Paul, but Paul, and he's with Curflow, and he's one of our top sponsors of Epic, and I'm looking forward to meeting him in person sometime soon. And then Mike Lassis and Anthony Annabale, they both have been partners of ours for a really long time. Mike Lassis being my number one first sponsor to Empowering Pubs. And so it's just going to be really great to hear their perspective and see, okay, what is that leading through challenging times really about? We've had so many supply chain issues, the great, resignation, if you will, and just what are manufacturers how are they dealing with it? And these are some really great leaders in this industrial space that can help. And so I'm really excited about that panel. Then we lead into DEI and action with Mercedes Glamour. And, anytime that we can talk about inclusion and making people feel like a sense of belonging within their organization is just key. Next, we will talk to Eileen O'Neill and Carla Reid, and they're going to talk about personal career growth and leading change, lessons learned in conversations with water CEOs. And I know Eileen has really taken an effort and interviewed many leaders within the space, the water space, and created this wonderful document that we can really work together to, share stories and learn from each other. And that's just one of the most amazing, in my opinion, ways to get that information out where people can understand it. So I'm really excited about sharing her work. And so she's going to, I guess, give us an example of that on this leadership summit. Also, I have a podcast lined up with her as well. So next, we will be talking about women in industry. We're going to have an advocacy panel there with Diane McMaster, Mercedes Gamer, and Tracy Long. And again, wonderful supporters in the industry. I can't say enough about them. Tracy Long specifically has supported the Empowering Women initiative and movement, if you will, to gather people and really understand and help us understand how we can really elevate our brands and our companies just by example. And so I'm interested to hear from her and her team along with Diane and Mercedes to, really dive into what can we do to be better advocates and to encourage more women into the space and to remain there. I think that is key. The inclusion part is so important, that belonging that has to be there when we are forming our teams. And that part, I think, is really what that movement of empowering women and advocating for women, how it transforms the way that we think about all people within our organization. And that makes me really happy. And so I'm excited to hear from them, and just I'll be a part of that panel, kind of asking questions too. So I hope that you will attend and be a part of that leadership summit with us. Yes, we will be presenting information to you, but be there and interact with our speakers, ask questions, and really participate, because that is how we grow. And really, anytime we can come together, even if it's through a virtual summit, we're sharing ideas, we're innovating, we're growing together. So looking forward to seeing all of you there. Okay, so our industry interview today is Chad Wilbanks, and he is the Director of Training and Technology. He has been in the industry for over 20 years, and he joined us from Gwinnett County DWR, and I had the pleasure of meeting him at the Water Tower Demo Days, and he was running around doing all kinds of work, getting that organization and that day ready to go. And so I didn't get to talk to him that day, even though I could kind of see him moving and doing his job that day. And so I was like, I've got to have you on the podcast. So I'm really excited to let you hear from him. Prior to his work there, he really did dive in and understand the training departments and what they needed, what specific training programs they needed. And this is really what I think is going to make the water tower so successful is that he has the experience with helping the DWR's operations and maintenance staff not only pass their certifications, but really hone in on their skills and really advancement opportunities within that organization. And he's bringing that to the water tower. So without further delay, here's your interview. Welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I have a wonderful guest that I got to meet in person at the water tower. Chad, let's start with just telling everybody kind of who you are and what you do.
All right, so my name is Chad Wilbanks. I'm the Director of Training and Technology for the water tower. Essentially what that means is I've got two main focuses. One of my focuses is searching for new and innovative technologies in the water industry, or maybe a technology that has been around for a while but hasn't received a lot of exposure, and just kind of going through the paces of validating and demonstrating and just really digging into that technology. The other side, the training part, really focused on workforce development. A couple of key things there. So the workforce that we currently have, making sure that they're upskilled and ready to move into a promotional position or move to the next level in their career. But then also the water industry, like many other industries, is facing an issue where there are more folks leaving the industry than entering. So just trying to attract and engage new talent and then get them trained up in our hands-on training facility that we have. So, really focused on the people and the products, technology and, educating and informing.
Well, I have so much I want to get into with that, but I'll stay on you for a minute and just tell us a little bit about how you got into the industry. How did you find water? Is it those big questions out there?
So like a lot of people, I kind of found it by accident. I grew up working in my dad's machine shop, and we actually made some pump repairs and did some different repairs for utilities throughout North Georgia. By the time I graduated high school, I'd kind of made up my mind that I really didn't want any more school at the time. And it just so happened that my uncle was a plant manager for a small utility, and he spoke with me about coming to work for him and helping him to start a preventative maintenance program. So I did that for a little bit, and then, I kind of wanted more money, and he was like, well, hey, if you can read these books and pass the state exam, I can give you some more money. So he was talking about the California State Sacramento manuals that used to be like the premier correspondence, training course back when I started. This actually makes my 20th year in the industry. But so I did that and realized, hey, I kind of like this operator thing, and, the rest is pretty much history.
Yeah, I love that. And, just in how you described yourself about, the next level. And, I've learned this term from the WaterWise Pro, also an operator to start, leveling up, right? And how are we going to level up? And you do actually, if you put in the work, get more money. And so that's the criteria. And I don't know that everybody knows that. And we definitely want to spread that word that we can create that opportunity for the water industry and beyond. But the water industry really has a set standard for that, of how they can pay based on that certification. So going back to your work at the water tower, how does that tie in? Is it really because of the relationships you have in water? How are you, I guess, embracing that in the training perspective?
So I feel like it's all encompassing. When I look back to, where I started in my career, repairing things and, fixing things to managing very large facilities, I can kind of see that everything that I did really prepared me for where I'm at now. Because not only did it instill in me the passion of wanting to work with people and help them realize their full potential, it also gave me the passion for technology. Because when I started, the place that I started working at, there wasn't even a SCADA system. So everything was manual, and so I got to see things evolve into a SCADA system and just what technology did for us there. So that really kind of ignited a passion for that as well. So I'm able to kind of use my experience that I have for both of those areas and help, formulate training programs, help assess technology. So I really feel like my entire career has prepared me for this.
Yeah. And so just what I saw, we were at the water tower demo days, and just getting to participate was amazing. We did the podcast there and got to share, but being able to see a facility, because that's what it is, moving in all these different sections, running efficiently, uh, that's definitely a testament to what you're doing there. But what has happened? So the water tower is created. We had demo days. Like, what is happening at the water tower these days?
So there's always something happening at the water tower. We've had multiple classes, training classes held here. We've had some different events held, working with partners on some different research projects coming up. And then we're planning for the future. So we have a couple of programs that have been in the works for some time now that we've really been waiting to have our building so that it's a lot easier to carry these out. But I have a couple of different training programs that are designed to not just aid an operator in passing their certification exam, but actually help them become an operator. So we have all kinds of things, exciting things going on here, and every single day is busy, and I love it.
Yeah. And so the people that, maybe if you haven't seen the water tower, we did have an episode on it, and definitely a couple of knowledge shared too, because I was really excited about it. It's basically bringing our industry together, and like you said, training, teaching, but also it has these areas where you can do demonstrations, both indoor and outdoor, with, power and water, and, there's different technology, the screens, and even a podcast room, when I was there. And so tell us a little bit, just for somebody who doesn't really know the water tower, a little bit more about it.
All right. So, and I'll be brief with it, but everything that we do is essentially based on what we call the 4 pillars, which is applied research, technology innovation, workforce development, and community engagement. So essentially we're striving to, not only attack all 4 of those areas, but to be a hub of interconnectivity between all the groups, between manufacturers, between engineering firms, the public, municipalities, essentially be that place where everybody can come together and learn and innovate and, essentially empower each other.
Yeah, absolutely. That word innovate was running through and through that day, that demo day. So you're doing it. It's clear. I mean, I've even put in my request of using the facility because it is that amazing and really thought out how we can bring people together, a very collaborative space, which I love. So what, other than kind of bringing people together, is there a certain need that you saw out there for our operators, maybe, that the water tower is fulfilling?
Most definitely. So, from an operations standpoint, and I'm not knocking it, but a lot of the training is, you attend a class for a day, a couple of days a week, and it's a lot of PowerPoint, a lot of videos, and you can gain a lot from that. But, what I found doing some research is, the attention span of the average person these days is very short. And a lot of times, if you can't grab them and keep them engaged in something, they're not really paying attention. They're not getting a lot out of it. So one of our main focuses from the training aspect has been hands-on. Everything that we do, I mean, you have to sit down, you have to read books, you still have to, participate in, slideshows and lectures, but getting out and actually applying that while the information is still fresh on their brain. And so that's one of the things that we've encompassed. And that's kind of what I meant by, helping them to actually become operators because they're able to go out, test it, try it, and do that. Same thing with the lab. So, we have 3 laboratories. We have an analytical lab, an experimental lab, and a micro lab. And with those 3 different laboratories, we're able to do all sorts of stuff from, teaching and training to actual research projects. So all of that is really designed to, help the operator and help operations and municipalities as we grow and, we meet more regulations and we meet more, challenges that we have to face in our industry, just kind of coming together to try and solve some of those problems.
Oh, I have chills just thinking about it. It's so wonderful to know that these are the issues that are out there and that you have, and your team and Melissa, of course, like being able to work out and see, okay, this is how we're going to solve these problems. This is at least the first step, getting everybody together, training them, getting them to understand what the work is like. I can imagine, well, I don't even have to imagine, I've experienced it. As you walk into a plant, it's completely different than seeing a plant on the screen or any type of equipment. You can see pictures of it, but when you see it in person, and when you see it working, is a completely different experience and understanding that y'all are creating for people. So how do people get involved? If they, do they have to be a partner with the water tower? If you're just a regular Joe, and I don't know why I said that, but what I mean, just a person who wants to get involved with this, what's the criteria? How do they get involved?
Absolutely. Well, that's a great question. And we want everyone involved, whether, you're retired or you're going through school or you're right in the middle of your career. We essentially have places for each and every person here. We love that public engagement piece where, folks from the surrounding areas are interested in water or interested in what we are and what we're doing, and bringing them in. So the best way to get involved, if you go to our website, you can actually click on contact us. And there's a form there that you can fill out, and you can essentially select from a lot of different things and just let us know that you're interested in learning more about the water tower, that you'd like to be involved in a certain area. You might be interested in a training class, or let's say there's a training class you're interested in, but it's not something we've provided yet. There's all kind of opportunities to essentially fill it out, and that goes directly to us. And trust me, we respond to those typically within 24 hours or less, because as soon as you hit send, it comes directly to our inbox, and we're reaching back out to folks.
Yeah, I think that is part of your passion there too, of having everything connected. I do want to talk a little bit more about that because, having that SCADA system that you talked about, and kind of the data and information that the facility gets from that, is that just because it made your job easier at the plant, or are you like a digital guy? Tell me your passion about that specifically.
A little bit of both. So it definitely makes your job easier. Especially a plant as large as the F. Wayne Hill Water Reclamation Center, which is adjacent to our campus here. A plant that large, if you didn't have an extensive telemetry system, guiding you and giving you information on the assets that are out in the plant, I mean, it would be really hard to staff a facility like that 24 hours a day. So definitely the aiding part, but also just the interest, the excitement of it, because, I can remember a time when you physically had to go to an asset and turn it on, off, open a valve, close a valve. And now you can do it from a screen, which is really nice. You still have to go out and physically check it because, if you just press stuff on a screen all day and you didn't check it, that could cause a separate issue. But it definitely helps out a lot in managing and running these facilities.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. I think that this problem solving, innovative state that we're in as an industry it's testament to people like you that kind of see these issues, kind of note them and say, okay, how are we going to fix this? Or, this is my experience. I'm willing to share this with you, and really help you develop faster, in a better way than these steps I had to go through. And that is a testament to you and people like you. And I think that the workforce, the problem is not just, like you said, people leaving the industry. It's also, bringing in new people. But the part about people leaving the industry is that one kind of gets me, because it's like, what are we doing to cause people to exit? Is it just that they're getting older? Is it just, that we aren't making this industry as exciting or innovative as we need to keep people here? I'm curious just what you have found in your research, that why are people leaving?
So for all the research that we've done, all the numbers that we've seen, it's essentially retirements. I've not really seen any data where there's, dissatisfied folks leaving the industry. What I like to say kind of jokingly to folks, typically if I can get you to come for a couple of days, I can get you to stay forever. And that's just kind of how it
I love
is,
that.
because you come in and you see what really goes on. You see that it's not a hard job, but it's a very important job. And it's a job that, requires you to pay attention and to study and learn and, always, be on top of your game. But it's definitely not hard. And it's something that, is a very rewarding career as well. That's another thing that I like to talk to folks about. It's not just a job. You can use it as a job and go to school and do something else if you want to, but these are really great careers, and you can have a really great career that, you typically can get into a whole lot faster than, if you were, pursuing a 4, 6, 8-year degree path. You can, in most cases, I know in the state of Georgia, the requirement for the entry-level state license, the Class 3 license, is, your education, 3 months experience, and you can sit for the exam. So, within 3 to 4 months, you can be, the Class 3 operator in the state of Georgia. So you can essentially begin your career there. So, that's definitely the issue, though, for us is the retirements, folks retiring, and then not having that large pool of eager folks ready to jump into the industry.
So that 3 months experience is kind of going through your training and understanding, hands-on as an operator. Is that going to count any towards that experience, or do you have to be in an actual role? How does that work?
So the way we've set our program up, our program will give you that experience, because what we've done is we've created 2 separate programs, actually. There's an 8-month program and a 4-month program. The 8-month program typically follows the average school calendar for, most systems in Georgia. And essentially, it's like a work-based learning. So when someone is entering their senior year of high school, and they're a part of a work-based learning program, they attend classes in the morning, and then they come to us in the afternoon. And ours is a mix of in-class, online, and hands-on learning, but then we're also placing them into facilities where they're working. They're building actual working hours, and by the time they graduate high school, because that's the other requirement, you have to have at least a high school diploma or GED to qualify for the state license. So by the time they graduate high school, they've received all the training they need for it. They've attended all the requirements for the 40-hour basic course and are able to sit for their exam. Now, the 4-month program, that's geared more towards folks that have already graduated high school or already obtained their GED, like the 18 to 35 range. We're not putting an age gap on it, but that's the typical range where, folks, they're kind of, they didn't go on to any kind of post-secondary education, and just are really trying to find a career or find, something that suits them. We have a 4-month program, which essentially takes all the same stuff we're doing in the 8-month program. But because these individuals are already out of school, they can come and spend an entire day instead of just a half day. So they're able to get that experience a lot faster. And then within that 4 months time, they've completed the 3 months required for the work experience and are ready to sit for their exam afterwards.
Well, I love this because you are absolutely building the workforce. You're doing it every day. Kudos to all of you. The other thing I wanted to ask about is that community, Georgia in general, right? How are we kind of going out? I know, I saw a lot of people from the city there, but also just they're right there, next to the plant is right there next to the facility. But how far out are you going, and what type of partners are you looking for?
So essentially, we're not putting a limit on it, because another component that we have for this workforce program is we're able to, let's say someone from South Georgia would like to participate. It's a little difficult for a high school student in South Georgia to get out of class and make their way up to Buford, where we're located. So we've got it set up so that we could partner with a local utility in their area and allow them to do the same stuff. They could, attend classes. We have online components for our classes, and then they can go work within the facility. And essentially the way the program's designed, let's just say we were talking about pumps, today in the online segment, then when they go to the plant that evening, they're working with pumps, they're learning about pumps, they're learning about, the different things of that facility, the hydraulics and all that. So we've got it all intertwined so that the, lecture, the coursework matches up with the on-the-job training. So there's really no limit to essentially anyone. Now, the standards that we teach are for Georgia. Every state has different standards. There's a lot of reciprocity among states, but still, even if someone wanted to become an operator and they lived in another state, they could definitely get value out of the training because a lot of it applies all across the board.
Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that, and just because it's a wonderful resource, and how that. The other part that I guess I'm really just amazed at is like the curriculum, and like how did you design what this needed to be for all of these different components of water? Where did that come from?
So when I was with Gwinnett County, my previous position, I helped and I served as a subject matter expert for the training department because during that time period, there was a lot of folks that were having an issue actually passing their exam. And so, we kind of sat down, we looked through material that we had, we looked through our approved courses and really just tried to, enhance things to make it so that, we could fill in the gaps. There's a lot of folks that had issue with math. And when they would go attend a class, the class starts off, teaching you the formulas you need to work the problems out. But some folks, if they didn't have, some good foundational math when they were in school, it was still hard for them. So, we started breaking apart the components and, we broke the math down and actually had an actual math course instead of, while we're talking about clarifiers, we're going to teach you the math part. We would have math by itself and just break apart, the biology kind of the same way. So we ended up taking essentially the state requirements for the 40-hour course and just breaking them up into smaller chunks that are, essentially easier to digest, if you will, and spread that out over time. And that's kind of where the blueprint for this program came from, is essentially taking that, condensed 40-hour, 1-week version and spreading it out over a period of time to allow folks to ask questions and to, really get into what they need to learn to be operators.
Well, I knew that you were remarkable, but that is just straight from your experience in building what the industry needs. Wow. You just blow me away today, Chad. So just as we've been talking, have you thought of anything else that you wanted to share with our listeners?
Well, I definitely want to give a shout out to my team members, Melissa Meek, our CEO, Kristen Vanden Havel, who she does applied research and the engagement component. She's amazing, getting out in different community groups and, going to job fairs and college and career fairs and science fairs and speaking to students and stuff as well. And then we have Kristen Pelletieri, who is our lab guru, if you will. So we have a really great team. We always say we're small but mighty. And so none of this stuff would be possible without them because a lot of our stuff kind of overlaps. The community engagement and the workforce development overlaps sometimes. The research in the lab overlaps. Technology in the lab overlaps. So we all kind of overlap, and we really work hard to help each other out. So that's one great thing that I love to just always tell everybody is that, we've got some good things happening, but it's a team effort for all of it. So.
Absolutely. And that's what you need. You have to have a great team that's able to work together in order to accomplish these goals, especially the goals that y'all have, which are great. Okay. So I want to do a couple of little rapid fires with you, and then I'll let you go. But
Okay.
Just curious what your favorite book is.
My favorite book. Yeah. So unfortunately, it's not water related. But
I was going to say, what's he going to say here?
Yeah. So actually, one of my favorite books, and I read it later in life, but the Lord of the Rings series.
Yes, I've had somebody else this week say that. So that's wonderful. What about song?
My favorite song. Oh my goodness. It kind of depends on when you catch me. Like I'm a music guy. If you look at my library, it's anything from Beethoven to probably some heavy metal, a little bit in between. I like it all. My goodness. You're really stumping me here.
I know. Well, this is the fun part. You know all the
Yeah,
answers to the other one. This is like one of the hardest questions.
it,
But Beethoven, I didn't see that one coming.
yeah, I really do like a lot of classical music. I kind of find that, when I'm working on a plan of study or really trying to get my creative juices going, playing a third symphony or something in the background, really kind of helps keep things, at an even keel. So I'm going to go with
Yeah,
Beethoven.
I like it. And to that point, like if you know the words to the songs, then you'll start like reciting the words in your
Exactly.
head, and it throws you off. You can't really focus. So that's great stuff. Okay, best advice you've ever received.
The best advice I've ever received. So I would have to say it's never give up, because there's a lot of things that can happen to you, professionally, personally. Folks are facing adversity every day, big, small. And a lot of times it's easy to want to just, redirect or throw in the towel. I would definitely say, never give up, persevere. And actually, I applied that to my career, because early on, I was super young. I was really wanting those management positions. I was wanting to be the boss, and I got denied a position one time. And so I went and I asked the hiring manager, I said, hey, can you, just give me some tips on what I could do better, how I could grow? And he actually sat down with me. That was one of the things that he said to me. But, he gave me a lot of other really good advice that I applied and worked on myself. And then the next time a promotion came available, I actually got it. So, I'm a firm believer in never giving up.
Oh, I love it. And on that note, with my teary eyes here, I'm going to let you go. But tell people, you said to contact us, but if they want to reach out to you personally, how best do you want them to do that?
So the best way, so I'm on Twitter. I'm absolutely horrible. I'm working on that. I'm horrible with social media. I'll think something after the fact like, man, this is great. I should have tweeted that. But anyway, so at CJ Wilbanks Water. And then my email is chad@the h2otower.org. So those are two of the easiest ways to get in touch. And you can also go to twt.org, thewatertower.org, and check our site out and fill out a contact form. And, we'd love for anyone who wants to come check us out that's able to come do so. We would love to do that.
Absolutely. And I can recommend this place. And I definitely think that you and your team are doing a great job, Chad. So thank you for jumping on the podcast with me. I love that. And I'm sure we'll have something else to talk about later. So
Oh,
we'll
absolutely.
hopefully have you back. Yeah. All right. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Do us a favor, rate and review the podcast. Love some 5 stars, love some comments there. And you can always reach us at Empowering Pumps or using that hashtag Empowering Industry Podcast. Also, email me podcast@empoweringpumps, and I'll be here every week with a new episode. So until then, be empowering. I think it's playing. I must have had my speakers down. Anyway.